everyone. This is Lockdown TV from Advocacy For All. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at Bigger Voice. And today I have the great pleasure of interviewing Sarah. Sarah, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay, so hi, I'm Sarah. I am a peer supporter with Advocacy For All, and I've also just become a one-to-one independent advocate too. So I have a lot of hats I need to wear all the time.
Thank you. And I just wanted to first of all ask you, we've been in lockdown since the middle of March. How are you finding it?
In the beginning, I was fine because in my head it was like, oh, it's only going to last a few weeks. And now we're 3 months in and I'm starting to go a bit, not crazy because that makes me sound weird, but a bit kind of like, I need to go out. I want to see my friends. I want to hug my grandparents because obviously I've seen them through doors and windows, but I haven't sort of been able to hug them, and being that kind of person, it's quite hard not to do that.
Say a little bit about what a daily routine might be like for you.
So a daily routine normally starts about 3 a.m. when I finally fall asleep, and then I'll wake up kind of whenever my body tells me it wants to wake up. So I haven't really got into that much of a routine, like setting an alarm or anything. So I've done a lot of listening to my body during lockdown, which I think is something I haven't been able to do for a while. So I think it's quite enjoying the fact that I'm not sort of running around and like doing as much as I normally do, and it's taken this time to sort of chill out and wake up whenever it wants. It's quite enjoying the non-5 a.m. wake up calls, I think. And then I'll probably, whenever I do wake up, I'll then walk downstairs and kind of chill out with my brother, help him with coursework. But other than that, it's not really a routine. You kind of just do things as and when you need to do them. So I'll pop to the shop if I need to, or I'll walk the dog if it's my turn. So there's not really a set routine, which is something I'm struggling with, because working gives me that routine, and it means I can focus on, traveling, working, doing the things I need to do, and then finding time for the stuff I like doing, which kind of helps me to regulate my mental well-being. And not having that at the moment is kind of something I'm not dealing very well with.
Could you say a little bit more about the mental health and what is it that you're dealing with?
So I have anxiety and depression. I have had both of those since I was about 6. And as I grew up, they kind of went away. Not away, because they never fully disappear. But I was in a really good place, and then I'd get worse again. So it kind of flares and disappears. But since my 20s, it's kind of always been there. It's never really gone anywhere. So I struggle a lot with overthinking. I don't know if anyone's heard of that or do that themselves. So if someone says something, I'll then question their motives constantly or question what they really meant, which is why I struggle with communicating with my friends via text message. I'd much rather see them in person, because then I can easily sort of read their body language and know that, they're doing okay. And I worry a lot about how they're doing. So I'll ask them, but then I'll lie when somebody asks me. I'll say I'm fine, because I'd much rather talk about what they're going through than what I'm going through. But I've always kind of been like that.
Say a little bit more about your mental health and how it relates to your daily routine. One of the things I was quite interested while you was talking. One of the things I was thinking about is how much your job helps in, or having a job helps you in regulating your mental health more. Yet you've had more opportunity to look after yourself and read your body more as well. Could you say a bit more about that?
My job acts as a distraction from everything else that's going off in my brain. So it's kind of like I can split my brain in half. I know that's not a possibility, but it's sort of like I can split my brain in half and I can focus on the work half and almost forget about the kind of other distraction that might creep in every now and again, as where I don't have that distraction at the moment. So the other half is creeping in a lot more than it would on a normal day. Well, I suppose this is the new normal now, but yeah, than it would back in, say, February, when I was working all the time, and I don't forget about it because it's always there when I'm at work, but I can sort of deal with it because I've got other stuff going on, as when now I'm sat down, I'm watching TV, I'm doing nothing. It's kind of hard to distract myself.
I think we should also point out that you're also a member of the self-advocacy groups as well. And so you've also have like lots of different activities. There's meetings, there's
Yeah.
come dine with us, there's socials. And so there's a lot of things. You actually lead a very busy social life, and you're also busy at work as well. How much of the interaction and the socials and the meetings and everything you're doing as a member, how much of that are you missing?
A lot, because I get to meet different people all the time, even though it's the same people, but they're different. Does that make sense? So they're just different people and they all have different stories. And I love hearing them. I love helping, and that's kind of my role within the socials and meetings, is to kind of listen.
Can you say something about how your coping mechanisms have had to change while being in lockdown in terms of dealing with your mental health?
Mhm. So my biggest coping mechanism is music. So that's still a huge part. I've always got headphones either in my pocket or in my ears. So if I ignore you, I'm not ignoring you. It just means I can't hear you. Um, so that really hasn't changed. But then I guess my daily routine while I was working and while I was doing everything was one of my coping mechanisms. And obviously I haven't implemented one of those. So I'm my own worst enemy really in this situation. Because I haven't implemented my own daily routine, which is probably something I should have done, but I haven't. And that will probably be a lesson that I learn after lockdown as well, is that I can't rely on work to be my coping mechanism. I probably need to come up with some others that I can maintain myself, because obviously working in the charity sector, you never know when your funding is going to run out. So I kind of need to have a backup plan, and I need to start first with my mental health before I even contemplate financial or social. So yeah, that kind of means I need to do some thinking, I think. But probably not by myself. So I like to discuss these things with friends who have similar issues and sort of discuss what their coping mechanisms are and try and see if they work within my daily life. Just because those that live it know better. So yeah, I need to do some talking, I think, with a few friends and just see how I can improve my own coping strategies.
Now, say a bit about how you feel your friends are getting on in terms of dealing with lockdown. I mean, obviously you're in touch with them, you're communicating either via Facebook or WhatsApp. You know, what is going on out there in terms of sort of like your friends and peers?
So a lot of my friends work in the retail sector. So some of them are scared, really scared, especially when you get certain people that don't obey the rules or are aggressive when they're not allowed in the store. So that worries me slightly. So then that adds to my anxiety. Just because they're scared, does that mean I need to be scared? And these are people who, you know, are some of the strongest people I've ever met in my life. And if they're turning around saying, "Oh, I'm nervous" or "I'm scared," it doesn't relate well in my brain.
Yeah.
You know, I have nothing to be worried about. I'm not working in that sector. But yeah, it makes me worry about them. I have a few friends that I'm sure are not telling the truth when I ask how they are. So that takes a lot of probing and a lot of kind of, "Are you telling me the truth?" Um, kind of stern looks over video call, and then they sort of crack. Um,
do you tell the truth, Sarah?
no,
Okay.
so I'm a huge hypocrite in that sense. But I do to a certain group of friends. They will know everything.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, I know I can trust them with my life, and that they're not gonna phone social services on me because I sound a bit nuts. When I say that I've walked up and down the stairs 100 times, you know, because that's sometimes how I need to burn off the extra mental energy. Although my body hates me for it afterwards. But other groups of friends may then sort of see a red flag and think there's something really not right. So then that worries me. But no, I think they're doing okay. But they all have different circumstances they're all dealing with. So in the beginning of lockdown, it's kind of like, right, who you have to ask questions to find out who they're living with, how is that relationship, just so then you know after you know during lockdown what questions to ask. Take for instance, if I didn't know her backstory, I probably would check in a lot more than I have done. Just because I know she's got other friends and other family that are constantly checking in with her. I didn't want to add to that and add to her level of stress that she already has going on in her life. So it all depends on what friend it is I'm discussing or what friend I'm thinking about that would let me know how they're doing with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, it depends person to person. So those that are living with families are doing okay, but those that are living on their own, like most of my friends do, they're doing okay, but they're not doing great.
Mm. Do you think now that some people who are living with families can also suffer because
Absolutely.
you're not spending as
Absolutely.
much time with them usually, and you're all isolating together?
Yeah, absolutely. Relationships are tested. That's for sure. Definitely through lockdown. I love my family and I love them dearly, but I also really, really, really enjoy the time we're not together. Just because we're all so similar, and I think that's similar with a lot of families, is that they grow up together, they have their parents' personality traits, and then people clash. It's a natural thing for people to do, and I think being locked in a house with them kind of makes those things worse. If not worse, then it makes them, well, more obvious.
Say a bit about your role as a self-advocate. Now that we're going through this pandemic of COVID-19, where this is it's obviously it's a really strange time, and the people who are most involved in self-advocacy are likely the ones to be locked down and locked in, and will be shielding. And even when the lockdown finishes, it's likely that they will still be self-isolating because of underlying health conditions and stuff. Where do you see self-advocacy going while we're experiencing this new normal?
I see self-advocacy being more important than it ever has been, purely because it'll be our role as an advocacy charity to reach those people that are still in lockdown, even though people are out and doing their lives and doing the new normal thing. It'll be our role to check that they're okay and to see if there's anything they want, anything they need, and make sure that's provided for them, even if we have to signpost them to other people. Just because it's really important that their mental health needs are met and their physical needs are met as well. And obviously, if they don't know how to speak out about those, it can be quite difficult for them to get that. And obviously, with providing the correct technology that allows them to be part of video calls, part of, meetings in a virtual way, so they're not missing out on that kind of social experience or just communication and meaningful communication. Because saying hello to your postman isn't exactly a meaningful conversation. It might be for that day, but overall, you can't tell your postman that you fell over and you've hurt your ankle, or, but you could tell a friend that over a video call or a telephone call.
Just to remind everybody that you're watching Lockdown TV from Advocacy for All. If you like this video, hit the like button. And even better, if you like the material that we're doing, please subscribe to our channel. And we are with Sarah still. Sarah, you was talking about self-advocacy and the importance of it, particularly during the pandemic. I'm curious to find out from you that the usual subject matters that we look at in self-advocacy, whether it's housing, benefits, health. What do you think the issues are going to be as we're in lockdown and then slowly starting to come out of lockdown and emerging into a new normal?
I think the issues are relatively going to be the same, because people will have found out that, this money has stopped, or I'm entitled to this money because I'm furloughed or I've lost my job, and then housing, they may find that their house during lockdown wasn't great and they weren't able to live in it the same way that they would be if they were just sort of in and out. And obviously, if this is the new normal where people are going to be staying in a lot more, that will be something we need to look at and decide how we help with that. Because I know for myself that my house hasn't been great. I haven't been able to cook a meal for myself in my house when I've been here on my own. So if my mum and dad have gone shopping and my brothers have gone with them, I'm kind of stuck in one room unless I need the bathroom. Just because I can't sort of maneuver around my house very well. Well, I can independently, but I don't like to do it, just in case I fall over. But yeah, I also think mental health is going to have to be a bigger aspect of our work, in the way that we look at how we develop our own coping mechanisms and how we can pass them on to others. Because I know a lot of people will have been struggling with maybe not a diagnosed mental health issue, but they may have like moments of sadness or moments of moments where they just can't control their emotions. And I know that's been an issue for a lot of people during lockdown, even though they haven't. So people who haven't experienced mental health issues before are now experiencing them because a lot of their social liberties have been taken away. And it's because of that people are being affected more mentally than you'd ever think.
Is there a message that you would like to send out to people who are either learning disabled, autistic, CP? Is there anything you want to say to them in regards to COVID-19 and what's been going on recently?
So my message to you guys would probably be, keep your head up, this will all be over soon, and get ready for a new exciting normal. And if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, then reach out to us, to a family member, to anybody, even a neighbour. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have them. Unless you live on a farm, then you might not. Yeah, but keep smiling, because a smile could not only brighten your day, but also somebody else's. So if you're out in the queue waiting to get your Tesco shop, just smile at the person next to you or the person in front of you, because you never know what's going on in their lives either.
I'm very curious. You started off by answering that question saying that this new normal is new and exciting. Just to finish off, I'm be really curious to find out why you chose those two words. Those are very interesting words and positive words, by the way, also.
Because if you take a look around now, there is more nature than I've ever experienced in my whole entire life. I can wake up at 4 a.m. and hear birds, and that's something I've not experienced before. So if that continues, it really is exciting, because there are new attitudes. People's attitudes have changed completely. And my hope is that they continue to do that, and that people continue to be more helpful and more involved in the country. And people are reaching out to people they would have never reached out to before. And I know from personal experience that bonds are being formed through lockdown. My granddad gets a food parcel delivered once a week, and he's become firm friends with the young lad that delivers it for him. So I hope that those relationships continue to build together and become real friendships. And you never know what lockdown may kind of result in, because although it seems dark and gloomy and blur at the moment and just sort of really uncertain, it's the uncertainties that make it for me quite exciting, because you never know sort of what opportunities are going to come out of it.
That's what a fantastic way to finish this interview. Sarah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this interview. Really appreciated it. Could you tell us how we can find you on Twitter?
I need to remember my Twitter. What is my username for Twitter? I can't remember. Oh, the Late Night Poet. So it's the _late_poet, I believe. I could be wrong. Isaac, could you find out for me?
I'll find out, and I'll put it on the. I'll put it down. I'll put it in text and on the screen below.
Yeah, because I can't remember. I don't normally give that to anyone, so I can't remember what my username is. So that's not good.
And you can find me at Isaac Googie, and the text will be right on the screen now. Please remember to like and share this video on YouTube, and also hit the subscribe button. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Bigger Voice. So Sarah, thank you once again. This is Lockdown TV from Advocacy for All. Thank you so much for watching.